Greetings, Ben Murray here with another edition of SaaS Metrics School. Welcome. So today's topic, this actually came up twice in one day, and it's been coming up a lot lately. And I also, in a previous SaaS Metrics School episode, talked about the parent-child relationship. So this is very similar. So if we have this reseller end user relationship, if we don't tackle the setup, the configuration of this data in our system right now, it's going to cause us major headaches down the road, and it's going to be very difficult to unwind. So resellers, end users, of course, a lot of distribution channels in our SaaS. So if we're using a partner reseller channel, so a reseller where we have an agreement with them and they can resell our software, maybe even install that software if that's just part of the implementation process, we have an agreement with that reseller. So maybe we discount it by a certain amount, they mark it up, that markup is their margin, the profit that they make in reselling our software. And then of course, if they're also implementing it, then that's just pure, revenue and in margin for them on their side. So they're reselling our software to an end user. So when they land that deal, we get that contract over on our side, and then we have to invoice that reseller. So that's where things get messy. So if we just do a standard process of taking that contract over to accounting, and accounting invoices the reseller, and then we go about our way, that's going to cause major trouble down the road, because that causes trouble. One, now when we think about how many customers do we have, well, really it's those end users, right? The reseller is just reselling our software. And if I have 100 customers and one of those is a reseller, but that reseller has 10 customers, so really we have, 109, or let's just say 110 customers. So we have to get that customer count right. And then that flows into our MRR schedule. So if you're invoicing reseller ABC and we see in our MRR schedule the revenue from that reseller and it's growing and growing, growing, well, that's actually made up of a lot of different customers. So that's also going to skew our MRR schedule, our waterfall, and our resulting retention metrics, which that's a major problem. So that's why this data all flows downhill into our financial process, into our metrics, into our forecasting. And then, of course, with investors, due diligence, board members, potential due diligence investors, right? That's really going to make our life more difficult if we have a major reseller channel, even if it's 10 to 15% of our total revenue. So this comes back to our CRM configuration. And I was just talking to a client about this, then got an email through my academy about this. And in that one, they were using Salesforce, and I've done this in Salesforce. Of course, this required custom configuration. And if you do need a Salesforce admin, my former Salesforce admin is now doing consulting, so just let me know. A great guy. But it required configuration in our CRM system. So we entered the reseller and the end user, and we could invoice the reseller properly, but then it kind of flipped the data, and then the end user flowed downhill in that data stream. So everything after that was correct. So it required custom CRM configuration and that opportunity, right? That then requires close coordination, that quote to cash process with your CRO and your CFO. And then again, invoicing, when that invoice went out the door, we saw the reseller on that invoice because they're paying it, but also on the invoice, it was tagged with that end user so we could keep everything clear. And then finally, metrics, right? This is going to impact a lot of metrics: customer retention, gross revenue retention, net revenue retention. It's going to impact CAC. Right? Because that's a new customer. So how are you calculating CAC payback, cost of ARR on all that ARR coming from your reseller channel? So you can see how this just weaves throughout your financial and accounting data. And really, you've got to tackle this upfront right now. Otherwise, like I said, it's going to cause major headaches and very difficult to unwind down the road. So if you have that reseller end user relationship, right, let's get our sales team together, our finance team, our CRM admin together, and figure out how we're going to configure this so we have the correct data out of this. So this is coming up a lot, just common issue within SaaS companies in that reseller channel. So tackle it now rather than later. Thanks. Hope you enjoyed the episode.